Okay, welcome everyone. Looks like we are live in the group now, so we are good to go. All right, let's get started. Okay, for those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Renee Roberts. I am a functional nutrition counselor, vitality coach, and registered hypnotherapist, and founder of Nourish to Live RX, and your host for this evening. And I will be introducing my guest speaker, Michelle, in 1 minute. I just wanted to go over a few logistics for those of you that are on Zoom. Feel free to type any questions you have in the chat or in the Q&A box, and I will keep an eye on it throughout the session. If you're on Facebook, I'll keep an eye on that as well. Feel free to chime in and say hi and where you're connecting from. And I'd love to hear where we get people from. So if you have any questions throughout, just type them in. Okay, so now I'm going to introduce our guest speaker for the evening, Michelle Finn. Hey, Michelle, how are you?
Good. I'm having lighting issues already. I'm telling you,
we had a few technical issues. That's why we're starting a few minutes late. So Michelle is here. She's going to talk about she's going to teach us how to overcome caregiver burnout. So Michelle is a transformational coach, a yoga and meditation teacher, and a podcaster. And she works with special needs moms who feel overwhelmed and isolated from caregiver burnout. She works on reducing the stress of special needs parenting so you remember what it's like to enjoy life guilt-free again. So thank you for joining me tonight, Michelle.
Thank
I
you.
will, thanks, Chris. Chris is connecting in from Oakville. Hey, Carla, how are you? I will pass the floor over to you, Michelle. You can tell us a little bit more about yourself if you'd like, and then, just tell us a little bit about what you do and how you work with people and what are your, I think you said 5 tips for overcoming caregiver burnout.
Yes. So thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And I'll just jump right in and tell you a little bit about myself and how I became a transformational life coach and also a yoga teacher. It all stemmed from one moment in time. So it was about 5 years ago. I have a son who is now 20, and he is severely disabled. He has a disability called 1p36 deletion syndrome. So he's missing a tiny piece of chromosome 1 that causes all sorts of other issues for him. So he is nonverbal and non-ambulatory, so he doesn't walk or talk. And he relies on me for everything. And most moms, especially special needs moms, want to be super mom, right? I mean, I think we can all relate to that. And that was me. I did everything for him and I forgot who I was. I didn't take care of myself. I didn't take time for myself. The world revolved around my son. And about 5 years ago, he had a grand mal seizure. It was his first in 11 years. And it lasted for about 20 minutes. And it was so powerful, so strong that it actually broke his hip bones. So the convulsions were that tight because everybody says, did he fall? He didn't fall. It was that much of an impact on his body. So, yes, we got to the hospital, and the first hospital we went to tried to discharge him and said nothing was wrong with him. He was shaking in pain and had not even regained consciousness yet. And I was like, nope, that's not going to happen. So I had them transfer him to another hospital who also tried to discharge him. So 4 days into it, I'm still throwing a tantrum, and they finally took him for x-rays. So it took 4 days because my son was nonverbal for them to take him down. And they were only giving him Toradol, which was like a strong Tylenol. So imagine breaking both hips. I hadn't slept for 96 hours because I was in a mom alert mode where I was just mama bear, taking care of him. Somebody was going to listen to me. We weren't going home. And he finally got surgery. And when he was back in the room resting, I finally closed my eyes after 96 hours. And about 15 minutes later, I woke up. My heart rate was 186 beats per minute. Luckily, I was able to press the nurse call button. So they did come in and found me on the floor. And that's how I knew my heart rate was at 186 beats per minute. I was unable to speak. I was unable to walk. I could not communicate in any way. I could hear it in my head, the questions they were asking me, like, what is your name? And I could hear me saying Michelle, but nothing was coming out. So they called a rapid response code for me in the hospital. You heard it go out along the intercom, and a whole team of people came up to get me. And I broke. That was the catalyst to all of this, because I realized if I didn't make a change in my life, I wasn't going to be able to take care of my son.
Yeah.
So that's how this journey started. And for me, it was a really good yoga class. I just took took an hour for myself to go to a yoga class, and the Shavasana was so wonderful. The next day there was a yoga teacher training program on Facebook in my area. And I was like, I'm going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do this. And that was my first step.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's
Yeah.
amazing how like you just get that call to do that, right? Like I'm going to do this. This is what
I
I'm going
think
to do.
I think we all kind of hit this point with something, whether it be losing weight, quitting smoking, changing our lives, whatever, where you're just like, enough's enough already. I want change, and we're ready for it. I think that's the big
Mhm.
key. Are you ready
Yes.
for it? Do you really want to make that difference, or do you just want to hear people talk about making a difference and still not do it for yourself?
Yeah. Well, that's the one big thing about us as coaches. When you coach people, you have to coach people that are ready to be
Yes,
coached. I mean, you can say you want to coach or you want to change, but if you really don't, it's going to be really hard to make any change if you're not there in your head, if your mindset isn't right.
that's correct.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people that reach out. I heard somebody say the other day that they coach people that want to feel empowered, not want to feel like victims. And I'm like, yes. And I'm not saying that as an insult, because I was that person that was like, you don't know my life. I want to change, but it is impossible. And I truly believed that. Before my son broke his hips, I truly believed that I didn't have a support system. I didn't have help. Nothing in my life was going to change. So I wanted people to stop telling me to change my life, right? I tried, I reached, but I didn't, because I wasn't ready. I didn't know how to. I didn't really believe in myself enough to know that it was
Yeah.
possible to make that change.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So after the
Awesome.
yoga, I know. Well, so when I finally started yoga teacher training, the first thing out of my mouth, and this was not planned, but the teacher asked, "Why are you all here?" And I said, "I never want another special needs mom to break the way that I did." And after I did yoga teacher training, I realized there was more, that not everybody was going to want to heal through yoga. And meditation is huge in my world. I mean, even before I came on tonight, I sat outside because it's so nice out right now. And I did a 10-minute meditation just to calm down. It's so good to relax that fight or flight with meditation, just to calm your parasympathetic nervous system.
Mhm.
It's For me, it's essential. And then I ended up going back to school to become a coach, because I wanted to know the right way to do it.
Awesome. Cool.
Yes.
Great. So how do you do it? What is your method when you coach somebody? How do you do it?
Well, I have a few different programs, but my main way is I really want to get to know somebody. I want to know what makes you tick. I want to know what your desires are. And then I help people through mantras, because meditation and mantras are huge in my world, because I believe that positive speaking into your life, those positive affirmations, they're necessary. So often we tell ourselves how bad we are. Like, you can't do this, you suck at that. And when we hear compliments, we feel uncomfortable. We need to learn how to get comfortable with that, because we're awesome. We all have gifts and talents, and we need to like recognize them and lift ourselves up, because we deserve it. We have no problem praising other people. We shouldn't have a problem praising ourselves either. So that's one of my one of the first steps that we do when I coach anybody, or if it's in-person coaching. I also have programs online that are more affordable, and they are pre-recorded. So, but that's the first thing I teach people, is how to find what it is that they shine at, and
Mhm.
to just keep speaking that into their world. So that's the first step. And then of course the why. Why do you want to change? And then I have them write down, and we do like this whole meditation process with this, but write down what they want. as crazy as it can be. It doesn't matter what it is. You can write anything down. Like, I want to be an astronaut and live on Mars. You can write anything down that you want, because we have to have that spark of dreaming again to know that, yeah, I can have fun with this. I can really think outside of the box. I want, when people come to me for coaching, I want it to be fun. Because there's going to be parts that are overwhelming, right? Because when you're reaching into yourself and you're really seeing where you are, where you want to be, and how to get there, sometimes that can be overwhelming. So I want to make it fun. So that's kind of where we start. And it's teaching moms that you're important too. We were not only put on this earth to take care of another human being. If we took care of our kids the way that we take care of ourselves, would we find that acceptable in any way? So we have to think of that. I mean, I don't know how many times before Josh got injured that I needed to go to the doctor and I never went, because I was like, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. What if tomorrow doesn't come? And what if going to the doctor or taking care of ourselves will get us to stay here longer and be able to take care of our kids better? Because I know with this lifestyle change, I have so much more patience with my son. Like when he's throwing a fit, I don't lose my mind and think, why is this my life? I actually can take a breath and calm him down. And that's, taking care of yourself really does benefit the whole family.
Mhm. Yeah. So I
Did that
know we
answer your
have,
question?
yes, yeah. So I know we have people listening that, obviously are very interested in understanding what they can do to overcome burnout as a caregiver. And I think we may have people that are, I know there are people that signed up, some of them I know that are caregivers of elderly, but
Yes.
there are people that had signed up that are also caregivers of children as well. So what can they take away? Are there things they can implement themselves that they can work on to
There are definitely things that you can work on. And I also I have a lot of people that are caregivers for other people, not just their children with disabilities. I find that I have a lot of people that reach out, especially that are caring for their parents or a sibling. Um, so yes, I work with everybody in that field. But first thing is you have to make yourself a priority. And that can look different because as caregivers, going out to a movie or going on vacation, that might not be a reality for you, right? So these are the basics that I'm going to tell you. And you guys all know this. For one, you have to make yourself a priority. Get up in the morning, fix yourself, like make yourself look good to you. I don't mean like you have to put makeup on, but fix your hair, put nice clothes on, feel good about yourself when you look in the mirror. And what I want you to do is come up with like some kind of mantra that you say to yourself every day. I say to myself, I curse, so I won't say that, but I say to myself, you freaking rock. And I will give myself a high five. Mel Robbins does that. I remember she has this high five thing. I was like, I do that as soon as that book came out. But it really does work. Like, look at yourself. And sometimes it's uncomfortable when you start to say mantras to yourself and there's affirmations like, you're beautiful. I'm beautiful. I am beautiful. People feel uncomfortable talking to themselves. But let me tell you, the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. And if you want to just be silly in the beginning, do something silly with it. Like, I am beautiful. Woo, woo. And you laugh at yourself. And it does become something that you look forward to do every day. But again, it's a little uncomfortable in the beginning.
it is a difficult exercise for sure, that mirror exercise, like
Yeah,
ugh.
yes, but it does help. It really does help. Meditation. I love meditation. And I hear people all the time say, I don't know how to meditate. You can go on YouTube. You can go to so many different programs. They have all those apps now that will walk you through meditation. You don't have to be perfect at it. Your mind is going to wander, especially in the beginning. Bring it back to your breath. So when you're meditating and you're on that inhale, count. So when you start to like that mind starts wandering, breathe in 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4. Then your mind will start to think about the counting and it kind of centers you again. So I love to lead visualization meditations so people can like go places in their meditations, right? So if that's your thing, find that. There's body scan meditations that are really helpful, especially if you're not feeling well. Example, a few months ago, I was having some pain, and I didn't know what was causing it. So I kept going to the doctors, and I go to acupuncture is one of my self-care things, is I love acupuncture. And so I was all needled up and I was laying there meditating, and I was like, I told my acupuncturist, I pointed to my back. I said, I have a herniated disc right there, because I did one of those meditations where you focus. And sure enough, when I got my MRI, that's exactly where it was a bulging disc right there. Your body will tell you, but you have to calm yourself. So meditation is huge. And then when you do the guided meditations that aren't like focused on the body, you get to take a little trip, right? So meditation is huge. Um, Saying your mantras, I'm just writing down because I will lose track of what I'm telling you. Um, Exercise is also big. And I know some of you are rolling your eyes right now, like, I do not want to exercise. You need to move your body. You don't have to like go push the latest workout video. If you walk around your block, if you like swimming, tennis, golf, just move your body for a half hour a day. That's all you need to do, is move your body for a half hour a day to get that blood pumping, heal. That'll help you heal. You want to stay healthy. So again, it doesn't have to be something strenuous. That's not, make it fun. Everything you do for yourself should be fun. Diet is another thing. What we put in our body actually does matter. And I know that we hear this a lot, but when we're going out, we're putting all these trans fats and sugars and all of this into our body. And look, I get it. I do it. I have such a dark chocolate, like I crave it all the time. But limit yourself to what you're doing. Make sure you're putting stuff in your body that's good in your body, because when you're putting these trans fats and these sugars and all the processed stuff, the GMOs in your body is starting to develop more and more inflammation. And what is important with that is inflammation causes stress on your body, and it also causes autoimmune diseases. I did a report about 6 months ago where I found 97% of the moms that I interviewed of kids, special needs kids over the age of 15, had an autoimmune disease,
Wow.
because they're not taking care of themselves and they are under a tremendous amount of stress. So it is important to make sure you're putting healthy stuff in your body. It's okay to cheat. It really is. Like, don't go so crazy that you lose interest. It becomes a chore. But just make different decisions. Like, maybe if you eat a burger, instead of getting the fries with that, you get a vegetable with that. Or it can just be small little changes. Instead of having 2 scoops of ice cream, you have 1 scoop of ice cream. It doesn't have to be a huge change.
Mhm.
And then last is take some time for yourself. So if that looks like going out on your back patio for 15 to 20 minutes to read or to sing. Like, I like to, when I clean, my son will be back in his room. I will turn on the radio and I will dance around the house. Take at least a half hour a day just to be silly for you. Like, make yourself smile, do something that you enjoy. So those are just some 5 little tips that get you started with overcoming caregiver burnout. I know it goes deeper than that. But remember, it doesn't have to look like everybody else's norm. For me, I work out. My son, I post workout videos on Instagram and Facebook and stuff all the time. And you will see my son scooting his little butt out of his room and being right up in my face. That's what normal is in my household, right? So going out to the gym and working out, that's not reality for me.
Mhm.
So it doesn't have to be what other people think it should look like. Do what works for you and your family, but make sure to take time for yourself. I know it sounds hard, but I promise you, you can do it.
Yeah. And it's all about what you said at first, make yourself a priority, because you have to, I know you've heard the saying, you use the plane analogy, right? If those things drop
Yes.
down, whatever those things, blanking out, whatever
The
those things are
mask, the
called, the
oxygen
masks, when
mask.
they come down, put yours
Yeah.
on first before you take care of other people. Yeah, it's the same
And do you
thing.
know that when I fly with my son for many years, when they would tell us that story, the first thing that popped into my head was, oh, heck no. I am putting that mask on him and then I'm putting it on myself. And this is true, this analogy, because then I realized after I started to heal, but if I don't put the mask on first and I pass out, who's going to help us? who's going to help us?
Exactly.
He can't help me,
Exactly.
right? And it took me a minute to realize like I can get it to him faster than he can get it to me.
Yeah. Or if it, yeah, you can't get it on and then both of you can't,
Yeah.
aren't getting the air.
Yes.
So yeah, it's so important. I totally understand that, they kind of go hand in hand, making yourself a priority and taking time.
And
And you're
from
right.
for people that are taking care of other people, it's hard. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been in that caregiver situation where it's like a 24/7 caregiver situation, but it is hard because at some point their lives become more important than ours. So if you're listening to this and you're like, no way, I don't have a support system. I live in a state where I have absolutely nobody. We have no friends because with my son's disability, this state is weird. Like other states, like our area, I don't know about the whole state, but the area I live in, the special needs community isn't tight. And when people meet me and then meet my son, they're like, oh, that's a lot. So it's hard to make friends anyway as adults throw in an my son's an adult now, so throw in an adult with special needs and say, hey, you want to be my friend? He's always with me. You know what I mean? It makes it hard. So I have no backup that way. I have no backup. And I don't have family here. But I made my own career. I take care of him. We go out into the public and get stuff done. Like we made our own life. And I still strive to do more and to create more of a community. We have, and I'll just go into that now, as I have a podcast with another special needs mom, and we're creating community that way too to bring special needs moms together so we don't feel so alone in this journey. Um, so yeah, I'm just
No, that's
saying, like
awesome.
I have on paper, my life looks rough, and I'm doing well. And I've learned how to take time for myself was the point of that whole little story.
Yeah. Yeah. And you do. And, I don't relate exactly to caregivers because I can't say I am a caregiver, although my siblings are. My mom, I live in Canada, but I'm from the States. So my family is down there. But, um, and I don't really say this too often, but my mom does. She has cancer. She has a tumor in her head, and, it is terminal. But
I'm sorry.
I'm not there to actually help, be the caregiver. I go down when I can, but throw COVID in and I can't cross the border. And it's been really tough.
Yeah.
But I feel it through my siblings
Yeah.
who are caring for her. And it's tough. And I feel for the caregivers who are dealing with the elderly, knowing that there is an end and it's a bittersweet.
Yeah.
It's bittersweet because you pour your heart into it, you pour your soul into it. You just want this person to get better or to just live a comfortable life as long as
Mhm.
they can. And then they go, and then you're like, oh, wow, now what? I can't
Yeah.
imagine that. Right.
Yeah.
It's,
But that's not just the elderly. Special needs moms live with that every day too.
oh,
When you
really?
have a
Okay.
child that's chronic, my son has a terminal illness. Like, well, he's not terminal, but it could be. Like we know
Okay.
with his deletion, I know more children that have died than I know adults now.
Mm, okay.
So we don't
Mm,
know what the future, like when he broke his hips, I didn't think he was coming out of that. I've been told 5 times in his life that he was not coming home with me. So
so he's
it's
spunky.
not, yeah,
He's
it's not, oh, he's, and it's like he's smarter than the rest of us, honestly, because the one time he had pneumonia and they're like, he just went to sleep and did not wake up and they could not wake him up. And
mm,
they're like, I've never seen this reaction. I don't know that he's coming home. And I'm like, there was the moment that I collapsed in the hallway and just cried. And then the next day he woke up like nothing was wrong. He's like, hey, I got my sleep. I'm good now. It's like he knew
God.
that he needed to shut down repair himself. And I'm like, gosh, he's so much smarter than I am. Right? He's
Yeah.
so much smarter than I am. So, but yeah, and it's bittersweet. And I'm sure what you're dealing with is even different because it's that feeling of not being able to be there, which is also a heavy weight to bear. So I'm sorry that you have to go through that.
Yeah. And I do. Offer support when I can,
Yeah.
and I offer support to them.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
through the phone and through Zoom and whatever. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I really am grateful for people like you that support the caregivers, because the
Yeah.
caregivers do need support. Typically, caregivers are giving everything of themselves
Yeah.
before thinking of
Yeah.
themselves, and it
Yeah.
does take a toll. I've seen it personally. I've heard it with other stories as well. It's not easy at all.
It's a
So
really lonely life, and that's what I hear from most caregivers
mm,
is if you ask them the one thing that haunts them kind of the most, which upsets them the most, it's they're lonely. They're really lonely. They feel very isolated from the rest of the world because we're not included. The world forgets about you when you're taking care of other people, right? They don't invite you to the parties and the picnics and all the things that they're doing because they just assume that you won't come.
mm.
So you lose track of friends and family. And so that's why taking care of yourself is so important and creating a community for yourself. Find those people. You don't need a lot of them. Just find a few of them for yourself.
So you have the podcast, so that's a community for
Yeah.
you. Do you have any other communities that do you have like a are you on Facebook? Or I know you have a
I
website. I'm going
am.
to post everything in the chat and I'll send it out as well with the replay so people can
Yeah.
find you. But
I am on Facebook. I have a page on Facebook called The Special Moms World. And I think there's about 15,000 people on there right now, mostly special needs parents. They just, comment and chat. And we're getting ready to launch a community page on Facebook for our podcast. So this is Holland. And it's going to be a group, and people get to ask questions and communicate with
mm,
each other and really just talk. And that's what my podcast is all about. Like I said, I do it with a friend of mine, Donna Sandoval, and she's in California. I'm in North Carolina, but we love getting together every week. We get together and do our podcasts and chit chat. And she's a great friend, a great support. And she's like community to me, right? So that it's been really cathartic, but we wanted to create something where it's just special needs parents really hearing the real life of special needs families, because we don't talk about a lot of stuff in the regular world, like doing air quotes, because it makes people uncomfortable. When we talk about what our children deal with, like me talking about my son going to therapy, people are like, oh, I'm so sorry. No, it's PTOT speech is just part of our life. It's not a big deal. We're good. He loves his therapist. Your kids go to Little League, my son goes to physical therapy. It's like it's not a sad thing, but people don't know how to deal with it because they haven't experienced it.
right. Yeah, exactly.
So it's just us being raw, uncut. We really are unfiltered on the podcast of just keeping it real. I mean, we even have an episode all about poop. So I mean, we are really keeping it real.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
Cool.
it's fun.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I want to open. I don't know if anybody has any questions. There are a few people on, but feel free to ask Michelle any questions. I don't think I have any questions because you basically gave your story. So typically things I would ask, I'm like, yeah, you've answered for me. Why do you do this? Well, we know why you do this because you live it every day.
Yes.
So
It is
yeah,
important to take care of yourself or
yeah,
you're going to break.
yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the people
I
that are
don't
listening?
know. I mean, really it's my passion just to it's not just the special needs world that needs to learn how to take care of themselves. We all do it. We all need to slow down, unplug a little
Of
bit.
course. Yeah.
Works if you're feeling stressed, check into meditation. If you're feeling overwhelmed, unplug. If you're having a hard time sleeping, unplug before you go to bed at night. There's so many things that we can be doing for ourselves that's just not about special needs, but take care of
Yeah.
yourself. It's so
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, it is. You're right. It's not just for caregivers, it's for everybody for sure.
Yeah.
And it's funny when you talked about meditation, I've never been one to meditate because the thoughts, and I know they come into your head and you just let them go. But I can candle meditate. Like if I look at a candle flame, I can
Yeah.
focus. But what I've taken up, and it's very similar to to where you did yoga. I did the same thing with hypnotherapy. I
Yeah.
decided I'm going to get certified as a hypnotherapist because it's helped me immensely. So that's a guided meditation to get into the
Yeah.
trance, to get into a deep meditative state. I've learned to do that, but it's guided meditation. It's
Yeah.
imagery because that's what you need to access the subconscious mind. But boy, that does, it's amazing. And I don't,
Yeah.
even if you don't have the hypnotic suggestion, I listen to hypnotherapy scripts every night before I go to bed because I never finish them because I'm out.
Because you're out.
Like 3 minutes later, I
Yeah.
don't know, but it still works.
Even on YouTube and Amazon, I'm not sure if it still has it, but Amazon Prime used to, where it was that thing. It was like a guided meditation where you would close your eyes and they would tell you like to walk down the staircase and
Yes.
count the steps. And whenever I couldn't sleep, I just, boop, there it is. I mean, the only reason I can't sleep at night is because I have a wild child that's like, let's party all night. So,
Yeah.
but no, it works. It really, really works just to be able to like let your mind wander. It's like watching TV.
Yep, exactly. Although TV gives you that blue light, you're not supposed to watch TV
No, well,
before bed.
it's a safe way to watch TV is your own imagination. Let somebody guide you through
Exactly.
it. But yeah, it's important. It really does calm that parasympathetic nervous system and allow you to breathe.
Yeah. And I think everything that you suggested too, all of those things help with various things like stress levels and, you know, it can help in many areas of your life.
Yes.
Even
And
if
when I
you're not.
coach, we definitely go into more than just the basics. So when I coach people, we go into what is going on in their world. What are their obstacles? How do you remove those obstacles? You know, how do you get through that? So that's what we work on. When I'm talking to a group, I generally go through the basics because you don't know the situations for everybody's life.
Right. Exactly. Well,
Well, I had
awesome.
fun. Thank you for having me
I
on.
don't see any questions come through. I should check, just make sure on Facebook, but I'm
No.
pretty sure we're good there. So yeah, well, I will let you guys have your time back and have a great evening. Thank you everyone for joining. I will have a replay. I am going to send all of Michelle's information out in an email tomorrow for those of you that want to learn more. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you for joining, everyone. Have a great night. And I will be back in normally 2 weeks, but I think I'm taking a hiatus in 2 weeks. So I'll be back in 4 weeks, probably for the next session. And I think that's all about gut health. So,
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with gut health.
I know everything starts with the gut.
It does. Your second brain.
Exactly. All right. Thanks, everyone.
All right,
have a great evening. Bye.
Bye.